every session I am moderating, and I'm afraid of moderating it because the person sitting next to me, I don't know, because he himself is a Vishwa Guru or Vishwa Shastri or whatever. I can't name him because he wears so many caps. He is a Hindu, Indra Samaj Maharaj, he is a Hindutvadi, he is an economist, he is a politician. I don't know what is he, what role he is performing now. So it's very difficult to ask any question. I don't have to interview Dr. Swamy because he's the only genuine economist left in the country, I think, who speaks the first language. He's not a diplomatic economist. And he's also the only politician who calls spade a spade. There's no politician he's not a hypocrite. That is one thing about him. Number two, you never know. When can he turn from a friend to a foe? You never know that also. Because he decides his own terms of engagement. His terms of engagement decides his friendship. Today is my friend, tomorrow he will be my enemy if it don't work according to his choice. So it is a very unpredictable personality and which is good. Therefore, he looks very young and biographically he may not be that young, but mentally and physically he is very young now. And we have called him today. The topic is what they call global high table. Can India be a Vishwa Guru? Because the new terms are being created these days, every day. As panel were discussing, we are a Vishwa Guru or Vishwa Neta or whatever we are being defined. But one thing is, which I know Dr. Swamy will give a different interpretation to that. India is definitely much better in global sense. Our recognition much better than it was many years ago. India is on the high table. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying about individuals, because India as a country, it definitely, we are all proud of. India today is much more better recognized all through the world, whether it's an economy, as a political stability or financial stability. So I would like to know from Dr. Swamy now, because he was one of the most admired person of Prime Minister Modi. I don't know who discovered whom. I don't know yet whether he discovered Prime Minister Modi or Modi discovered him, brought him into party and made him the Rajya Sabha member. So are we part of the global high table where we can dictate terms now? When Russia is fighting America, China is fighting America, everybody fight, because he knows Americans very well, he knows Chinese very well, he knows India much more than all of them together. So he's the master of all. I won't call the jack of anything, but he's the master of all and jack of none. So let me ask him, Dr. Swamy, what do you think is happening in India in terms of, is Hindutva going forward? In terms of globally, are Bharat going forward? So there is a Bharat becoming the world global leader and India Indianized becoming Bharatiya. Over to you.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'm Swami and you're Prabhu. Not bad. I've known him since he was a college student, and he hasn't changed a bit. Today, for the first time, I'm having him moderate what I'm saying. How much time do I have? All right. All right. I'll address the topic, can India be a Vishwa Guru? And then we can take on questions afterwards. It's okay. I mean, it's fine. First of all, the definition of Vishwa Guru. It is a mindset. It's not an individual. Guru is usually an individual. But it's a mindset which of a country which makes others accept our values and practices. We may say Vasudeva Kutumbakam, but the fact is that we would like to see that those areas and those dimensions which we hold dear from our cultural past, our civilization, so on, are accepted abroad. And that India is recognized as a country which can contribute to a better world. So that is the concept of Vishwa Guru. And I would say that we were a Vishwaguru from time immemorial. I can't say how far back I can go. Even Ramayana is at least 9,000 years ago. So therefore, I would say, however, that role was terminated finally in the 12th century when Muhammad Ghori unfurled his flag in Delhi. So therefore, after that, we have been in a series of attacks, invasions, looting, and so on till 1947. Now, after 1947, we did not pick up this concept of Vishwaguru, that India has many things to contribute, and again, it must try to establish its position in the world. There were people who wrote in as late as 1936 who put the Vishwaguru feature about India in international conferences. In 1936, Harvard University became 300 years old. It was started in 1636 and it became in 1936 300 years old. They called scholars from all over the world. And they called a very famous poet and scholar and the president of the Peking University or Beijing University, Dr. Hushe, to Harvard, to the conference, and asked him to speak on a topic of his choice. And the subject he spoke, and which is printed now, is available in print as a conference volume. The title he gave was The Indianization of China, a case of peaceful borrowing for centuries. Now, this is something which surprises everybody because we don't know our history. And the history that we got taught in schools were designed by the British on Macaulay's principles. And so we have no idea what influence we wielded all over the world. When people today go to Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Indonesia, they are surprised to see temples of India with Hindu gods and worship taking place, pujas taking place, because they were never told to look east. We were all told to look west and feel inferior to that west. That was the situation that we were left with in 1947. So I would say, first of all, when we say Vishwaguru, we have to change our educational curriculum to the point where the true facts come out. There is a lot of falsehood which has been put out, which divides us. This Aryan Dravidian theory is the most bogus theory that has ever been invented. And it has been completely negated by the studies that have been done in testing your biological origins. And now there have been journals which have come out which say that all Indians, from north to south, east to west, have the same DNA. And there is no such thing as there was an invasion. First the Dravidians came from somewhere, and then afterwards the Aryans came from somewhere. In fact, if you trace the word Dravidian, it can be traced to Adi Shankara, who went from South India to North India, persuading people to give up Buddhism and return back to Hinduism. And in his case, when he was in Bihar, he was asked who he was. He said, I'm Dravida Shishu. And Shishu means, of course, a child. But Dravida, he explained, is where the three oceans meet, which is Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and the Indian Ocean. And he said that portion is Dravida, Travid, as he explained. So the word Dravida comes not as a question of race, but a uh, as a regional, that is South India. Unfortunately, it has been foisted on the Indian people, and a section now think that they are race apart because they are Dravidas. And I don't think that uh, with this kind of brainwashing that has taken place in the past, we can be a Vishwaguru. So we have to get at least to learn what the true history of India is. So I would say today the question will be, can we regain the Vishwaguru status that we had in the past, and what we have to do for that? Now, there are today indications that the international opinion of India is changing. And they are beginning to give India not only the current state in terms of its current status, but India is also being, its history is being revised in a very slow manner, but it is being revised. I noticed that as far back as 2009, the editor of the Newsweek magazine, which is an American magazine, had a editorial article in Newsweek saying, headed, we are all becoming Hindus. And I was very surprised. You can get it in Google if you go and type. Her name was, the editor's name was Ann Miller, and say Newsweek 2009, and you'll get from the internet the article. And what she says is that there are so many concepts of Hinduism that we have now begun to accept. The one that caused most furor was when she said the Hindus burn their dead people who die, they burn them. That's the most scientific thing to do, because their theology says that a body is only like the cloth you put on your body. The soul is something that travels without the body. So therefore, she says, look at when you come from the New York airport and come to New York City, how many acres and acres of land is now under the graves that have been put in. So the land which is should be used for other purposes, housing and other such things, is being used for graves. And these graves are very old. People come even now, generation after generation. But the truth is that that is not a concept that is scientifically viable. And therefore she says, this is a Hindu concept and we should accept it. Like that she is given. That began in 2009. Now again, if you go to Google and type St. James School, London, and Sanskrit, you will find something. You will find very, if you have not done it, you have not seen it, then you will find this, what I'm telling you is unbelievable. In that is a news item which is an interview with the principal of a very prestigious school in London called St. James School. And the principal is asked this question: why is it that you require children of the ages of 6? And it's an all-white school. It says, why do you require children of ages 6 to 11 every morning for half an hour to recite Sanskrit shlokas? Not only they recited Sanskrit shlokas every morning in school, but just now when Prince Charles was coronated, there was a group from the same school which recited Sanskrit shlokas during his coronation. Which I don't know how many of you were able to see it in the media, but I'm sure that if you had seen it continuously, you would have seen that too. Now the principal is asked, why are you doing this? He says, I have come to conclusion after my study that if Sanskrit shlokas are recited by children of the ages of 6 to 11, every morning, then their brain development is much better than the brain development of other children who don't go through this. This is something which, again, you should look at. Then again, if you go to Google again, you'll be able to find that the the NASA, as it's called, National Aeronautics and Space Agency of the United States, has a journal called Artificial Intelligence. And in artificial intelligence, right now, the main thing that is worrying scholars is how to store knowledge in a computer, because ultimately the robot that you produce is based on a computer, and that computer then recalls all this information that has been fed into it. So he says it's become very important a subject to find out how to store knowledge in a computer for a robot in artificial intelligence. And the author comes to the conclusion that it's very difficult to insert knowledge with English, particularly oral, because if you, while you are speaking, you will say put, and that is P-U-T, and then you will say but that is B-U-T also. So you should say but also instead of but. So therefore, English is not appropriate. He goes through a series of language and then finally says there is only one language which is computer savvy, and which we can use for artificial intelligence to store knowledge in a computer, and that is Sanskrit. And therefore, they have begun this teaching of Sanskrit in NASA in the United States. And there are many other places also now. Sanskrit being, Germany is teaching Sanskrit in a very big way. It's only in India that we think Sanskrit is something of the past, and it's something that we should be looking forward and so on. But Sanskrit words are there in every language of India. And even in Tamil, about 40% of the words are in Sanskrit. I once had a discussion with Mr. Karunanidhi, whom I knew quite well, and he was very much a supporter of the ancient Tamil that is there, which is, he said, superior to Sanskrit. Then I said, why are there so many Sanskrit words in Tamil? And he said, no, there are none. So I said, let me give you a name. First of all, your name, Karunanidhi, itself is Sanskrit, Karuna and Nidhi. Now, he didn't know that, so I made him wise to that. Then I told him that you call the election symbol as Chinnam. The Sanskrit word for symbol is Chin. From Chin, it becomes Chinnam. Then his symbol is described as Udayan Suryan. That means, rising sun. Now, Uday is Sanskrit, Surya is Sanskrit, and Tamil has borrowed it. There are 40% of the words in Sanskrit. If you go through a dictionary and start tabulating, you'll find 40% of the words are Sanskrit. So the people here who oppose Sanskrit, they really don't know their heritage. So it doesn't matter. Some people prefer to have names like Stalin, which is not an Indian name but a Russian name. Now, so I would say that the question is, artificial intelligence itself shows this. Then we have acceptance of number of practices of Hinduism, which has been accepted in the West and is widely used. Yoga, for example. You can go to any town in America, you'll find a yoga center. And they don't hide it, the fact that it's come from India. They teach pranayam. A lot of people now today in the medical schools are taught the concept of karma and how it affects results for you. And Ayurveda is also another thing which is gaining strength. So I would say the indications are today that India has become, if not very strongly, but at least it's been recognized that it is a country which can be a leader for us in a field. I would say, therefore, that what is it that we in India should do to become a Vishwaguru? I mean, not giving speeches, and I'm not, I'm not concerned about the Prime Minister talking about Vishwaguru, because he's neither Vishwa nor Guru. So therefore, I'm not in that situation where I have to praise him. I know him very well. We go on issues, we fight on issues, and ours is a democratic party. And people keep asking me, like this gentleman here, why you haven't been expelled from BJP yet? So I tell him this is a democratic party, and you're not used to democratic parties, I think. So therefore, in issues there can be differences. And I would say there's a very strong difference with me and Mr. Modi on the question of the economy. Indian economy can grow at 10% per year for at least 15 years, and that's enough to make it a developed country. We have, during Narasimha Rao's period, achieved up to 8%. And after that, 7%, 6% has been very common. And therefore, I think if you want to be a Vishwaguru, then you have to demonstrate a country which was totally destructed by imperialism and Islamic invasions can become a developed country in a short period without regimenting the society, with democracy, with differences, with the disagreements. So, therefore, I would say the first thing we have to do is grow at 10% per year. There are consequences for that. How much investment would be required? How would you get the... Then most of all, I must tell you that every country which has grown very fast, like the Western countries, they have not grown because they put in a lot of investment. Investment is a small part of economic growth. What is the main part is what we call as innovations, new methods of doing things. Locomotive in the 19th century for Britain, and then thereafter wireless, thereafter steel furnaces, thereafter aeroplanes, computers, and now we are now reaching this cyber situation. So these innovations are the ones that will make the difference. For a country like India, to be fighting about water between, say, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka is really silly. There's plenty of water. You can desalinate the sea water and give enough water to both Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. By that process, the Israelis are doing that when they have no rivers. All these Arabian countries clandestinely accept Israeli technology for desalination of seawater. So these scientific achievements are some things that you must start developing, encouraging, rewarding. People shouldn't go to America to get a good job as a scientist. This whole software in computers, in cyber warfare, everything in the software, Indians were the earliest leaders in it, and then of course the rest of the world took it. We need also a very strong army. We are the largest population in the world. We have just 2 weeks ago overtaken China. At least in one thing we have overtaken China, our population. Such a large population, 1.4 billion people, I think we should have a very, very strong military, and if necessary, make the right kind of alliances. We have been invaded by China. China has crossed over the LAC, which is a mutually agreed line in 1996, that before we will start talking about our differences and the land that is in each other's possession. But for the time being, we shall maintain peace by drawing an artificial line called the LAC, the line of actual control. But China has crossed that, violating an agreement, and have occupied, as now slowly it's coming out, occupied a vast amount of land in Ladakh, a big portion of land in Arunachal, and we have to respond to it if you want to be a Vishwaguru. You cannot pretend that the Chinese have not come and nobody has come. All these things to keep the people cool. You have to tell the people this has happened, and we may take 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, but we must eject the Chinese by military means, and that is the only way we can emerge as a Vishwaguru. So this is the second thing. Finally, I like to say that the most important thing ultimately, as you can see, is the intelligence. But what do you mean by intelligence? It's not cognitive intelligence only. Cognitive intelligence is what you learn in schools, colleges, and so on. And it gives you a skill, but that is the only one part of it. Our ancient gurus and sadhus, sannyasis, saints, they all devised 6 different types of intelligence. One is called emotional intelligence, the art of arguing, the art of putting across a point of view without annoying the other side, or the art of putting your words in such a way that the man is provoked to think in a new way. So this emotional intelligence, the first one is cognitive intelligence, what you learn in your school, college. The second thing is emotional intelligence. The third thing is social intelligence. For example, if you build a factory and it blows smoke into the air, and then all the people get affected by it, and they suffer diseases and so on, that is something which is very dangerous. So you must have an intelligence that when you are permitting the society to industrialize or make progress in the economy, you must ensure that it does not adversely affect the environment and the people and so on and so forth. So this social intelligence is very important. Social intelligence also is very important in the sense that if you can combine two activities together, then you may get a multiplier effect. For example, if I grow a fruit orchard, grow fruits, and the flowers bloom, the bees come, and they take the honey. And if you can create a neighbor or a neighboring plot where these bees can come and build a beehive, then you will get honey also, and you will get also the agriculture to be promoted by the activities of the bee. So this is what is called as complementarity in economics, and this is something that we need to do so that we maximize the use of whatever is available to us by nature. So this is the social intelligence. Then there is something called moral intelligence, which means that you function in a way by which you do not do immoral things to get ahead. Unfortunately, that's exactly what is happening. All this corruption, all this loot and all is because we don't have this concept of morality, that you must not ruin the country in order for you to come forward. So the ability to interact is something which is very, very important, and that should be such that you may compete with somebody, may try to get ahead of somebody, but you don't do it by harming that person or cheating that person or using the powers of the state to put him out of action and out of competition. So this is a fourth thing that what we call is moral intelligence. The fifth thing is called spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence is something which now is mind-boggling for people to think about, but it's slowly being accepted. It is believed that, and it was believed by Shankaracharya and all the people who became later as his chelas, that all the knowledge is in the biosphere, that is that area surrounding the earth. And if you are able to train your mind, and that is why these shlokas are so important, so that your brain has a wireless communication with the cosmos. That is where you get the maximum knowledge. You can download the knowledge from the outer space. So this is something, this is being developed in the United States in a big way. And the Chinese are also doing it, but we are not doing any research in it, even though we had earlier on formulated this concept when all these great thinkers used to meet. We did it. We have done practically everything which is now being attributed to Newton and German scientists like Leibniz and so on. For instance, calculus. Calculus was invented in India. And in fact, there is a manuscript I've seen called Vimana Shastra. And I was surprised to see it. There they are describing how to build a plane. And what is the fuel they are suggesting? Mercury. So I asked a scientist that can mercury be a fuel for an aeroplane in the future? He says it's a long time in the future, but it is something that is being studied. When you say that Rama came back to Ayodhya on that Pushpak Viman, and the Ramayana text itself says that the fuel was mercury. Today you can imagine, we have forgotten all about it. Even the world didn't know about it. It's only now in the research stage. So in that sense, the spiritual thing is very, very important, and particularly the fact that if your mind can connect with the cosmos, then that is where all this japam you do in the morning, all the prayers you do in the morning, all these are aimed at making your mind connect with the outer space. So we will become a new kind of human being. So these are some of the things. There are other intelligences also, like environmental intelligence and so on. But these main five can shape a new Indian, and that new Indian can can lead the country to become a Vishwas Guru, where everybody will come running to us to learn. Like they're coming running to sit with our gurus here. You go to any of our sadhus and sannyasis who have got some reputation, you will find lots of foreigners wanting peace, how to get peace. And they are being taught how to get peace. So the same way you will find in all these other areas also, we will be able to attract the whole world. The world and a large country like ours becoming a Vishwa Guru is something that is very much within our reach. And this question is how we reach out to it. Thank you very much.
Dr. Swamy, I think you spoke more like a professor. You gave all the various parameters of becoming a Vishwa Guru, from spirituality to economics and whatnot. But you are the only propaganda, sorry, I won't use the word propaganda. You are the only propose the word that we are a Hindu nation. There is a contradiction between holistic, inclusive development, then Hindu Rashtra. If Hindu Rashtra you want to call yourself, which you are canvassing all over the country, you are going as a more like a Hindu monk rather than you are wearing a saffron even now. There is a contradiction that Hindu Rashtra can be accepted as a Vishwa Guru or not.
If you go by history, we are Hindus. As Hindus, we made the progress, and nobody else made the progress we made. And most of them copied us in the beginning, and then after suppressing us, they made whatever progress they made. So I won't go into the question of Hindu. It's not a religion that we are talking about. It's a way of life. It includes religion. It's not just a way of life. We say all religions lead to God. Is there any other religion in the world which says all religions lead to God? Only Hinduism says all religions, Sarva Dharma Samabhava. And it's there in our constitution also. So why should anyone object to, and we are 80%. India in population is 80% Hindu. And we partitioned our country so that those who didn't want to live with Hindus could have their own country, which is Pakistan. Of course, they're not making a very good job of running a country. We may have to take it back one of these days because they're not in a position to do it. But the fact is, Hindus are the most known. I mean, I'm not talking about riffraffs and gundas and thugs and so on who have to be dealt with in a very strong way. But internationally, nationally, Hindus are the most tolerant people if you are a genuine Hindu.
Professor, I'm a little confused about it because I've been raising this question for many years in my mind. Hindu way of life or Hindutva, Hindu Dharma is the ancient, which is not known. I'm a little worried why it was known as Bharat and not Hindu.
Of course.
So, what is the difference between Hindustan, which was the Urdu
Yeah.
mixing of that?
No, there's no Urdu
Why we
there.
still call India that is Bharat? Why not calling it Bharat, which means Hindu?
I'll give you a shloka from Rig Veda, which says that he from Himalaya and Hindu from Hindu Sagar, what lies between is what is called as Hindustan. It's there's all this that the Arabs brought this word, or they couldn't pronounce Sindhu river, so they called it Hindu river because they, instead of sir, they use her. All this is but nonsense, you see. What is the difference between Bharat and Hindustan? The difference is that Bharat is the concept of our republic. And we've given the name of a king who first brought this whole idea that my children need not become kings. If you find the best person better than my children, then they become kings. And so he himself chose somebody who was not his child and made him a king. So we have named the country as Bharat in honor of him and to represent the concept of a republic. Whereas Hindu and Hindustan it describes the nation as a people, that these are the people with these beliefs. And these beliefs are of course, multi-dimensional, but they are beliefs in which we also say that all religions lead to God. Sarva Dharma Samabhava. It's there in the Constitution.
I'll ask you the last question before I disperse. Do you think the Vishwa Guru concept which your party is talking about, you're still a member of the BJP, I assume so.
Well, I'm a member of the BJP till you throw me out, and I don't. And you won't be able to.
No, I am
because my support is very, very solid.
So I'm not. You're supportive to the cause.
You are only, infatuated by individuals in the party. So, I'm not.
So I'm talking about Vishwa Guru, the concept they are talking, the party is talking, that we.
Party is talking of whatever Mr. Modi says. They don't apply their mind. The crowd that is surrounding Modi.
They are linking it with an individual. Vishwa Guru.
That's wrong. It's got nothing to do.
The concept of BJP
it has got nothing to do with the individual. It is a concept, as I told you, of what we are. It's not a question of who Modi is. That's not got nothing to do with it. Well, flatterers are there who do this, and Modi would be making a mistake if he thinks that he can run the party or take the country forward based on people who are mediocre, because he has chosen his cabinet also on the basis of mediocrity.
He has implemented the Hindutva agenda. He has got the three.
No, he hasn't implemented.
He's got the Ram Mandir going on.
No. I'll stop you here.
370.
He opposed Ram Mandir till the end. He got his friend Mr. Gurumurthy, or his chela, Mr. Gurumurthy, to even present a petition while I was arguing in the court that the land which Narasimha Rao had nationalized so that we can build a big Ram Mandir, that land should be returned. It was rejected by the Supreme Court and it never got any publicity. On Ram Setu, it has to be declared as a national heritage monument. Every day, every week, I have to go to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court then asks the Solicitor General. He says, "Oh, we are working on it. We are working on it." Therefore, last 8 years, he has not done
But
it.
the impression that
No,
is
wait a
so.
minute, wait a minute. All the temples of Uttarakhand were nationalized by the Uttarakhand BJP government on the direction of the Mr. Modi. So don't say he's a Hindutva man.
But he's the most popular among them.
That is a different matter. You see, even Hitler was very popular. That doesn't make him think. I am saying that as far as Hindutva is concerned, Modi's contribution is zero.
What do you think? What is the future of Professor Swamy and Modi both together?
Well, he's an old friend of mine. I know him since
Yes.
1972 when he was in the Vidyarthi Parishad. You were also in the Vidyarthi
Yes.
Parishad.
We were together, both of us.
Yeah, that's why we quarreled. And I have no personal differences with him. But I am against the policy to keep silent on China. His economic policy is a complete rubbish. I've written it to him and sent it to him why it will not work. You may say India is a world leader, 6.5%. You will say it before the budget starts. At the end of the budget, you will forget what you said and you will give a new number. I can tell you, if you want to see the true statistics, the GDP, which was at 8% in 2015, has come down every year. And today, if you take the average between 2019-20 to 2022-23, you will find that the graph is down. Call any economist, you call him on this as a platform, and ask him to debate with me. No one will come, I'll tell you, because they know what will happen when I...
So what do you see him in 2024?
Huh?
224. Modi is बार 350 पार.
Nobody, what about 24? How can I say what is going to happen 24? There are so many actors in the BJP. There's RSS. I don't know what they are thinking. They won't also disclose it. Then there's all these Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh and Vishwa Hindu Parishad and so many things, you see.
But they will win or not?
Huh?
He will win or not?
BJP will win. That I'm 100% certain. There's no challenge to BJP. But who will be Prime Minister, I can't say.
Thank you very much. That BJP will decide probably.
Exactly, BJP will decide.
And the BJP is Modi now.
That's what you see. See, the main problem with us is that outsiders are more sycophantic than those inside.
Thank you very much.